And hello everyone, Lights and Gear is back, and I have a new flashlight here from WOWTAC. It may look like OWTAC here since the sticker is covering up the W, but this is WOWTAC. And these guys are associated with ThruNite. ThruNite is a good quality manufacturer, and I've had a couple of other lights from WOWTAC in the last year or two, and they've been pretty good. So this is along the same lines of quality, and as you see by the box, technically supported by ThruNite, and was actually provided to me by the folks at ThruNite. So anyway, this is the WOWTAC A4, and if you go to purchase this on Amazon, and there is a link below for a purchase link, and you can actually get it in two different LED tints. This happens to be neutral white, but you can also get it in a cool white. So both configurations are available on Amazon. Nothing else to see on the box here. And inside, the flashlight greets you right away here in a foam cutout. It's about 5 inches long, and it's a fairly hefty little light with a large head, as you can see. I actually haven't measured this head yet, but it's a good 2 inches across the top here, and the barrel is about 1 inch or so, or a little bit more than that too, with reasonably aggressive knurling all the way around and on the tail portion. It does not come with a pocket clip or anything, since it's too thick for that, but does have a lanyard here in the accessories. As you can see here, it has one switch which does everything and says WOWTAC A4 V2. It's also USB rechargeable, so on the other side here is your standard, it's not a C type, but a standard USB port. And let's go inside the box here for the accessories. As I mentioned a moment ago, here is a lanyard. Also has a spare O-ring in this little packet, so that's what's in there. And here's the USB charging cable that they supply, which is the same as any other standard cable. And here's your instruction manual. So, taking a look at the manual here for a moment, just give you the basics of the A4. You have some basic modes here. There's actually a moonlight, or a firefly as they call it, and then there's low, medium, high, and turbo, plus strobe. No SOS on this light. And firefly is pretty low at half a lumen, and on the turbo you get 1895. There's your beam distance at 565 meters, and your candle power. It's impact resistant to 1.5 meters. It's also waterproof to IPX8, which means it can be submerged up to 2 meters. And given the thickness of the flashlight, it uses a 26650 battery. It doesn't say anything about using an 18650 battery, and you'd need a plastic tube to slip one into, sort of like a spacer tube, in order to have, if it were going to use an 18650, you'd need a spacer tube in order to put the battery in order for it not to rattle around. The manual doesn't say anything about 18650, so I'm going to assume that 26650 obviously is the battery of choice, and they actually happen to give you a 26650 as well, so we'll show you that here in a second. But anyway, most of what you see here in the manual is pretty standard, and we'll go through the basics of it here right now. So on the bottom there is nothing. Obviously it tail stands beautifully, and oh, by the way, that's what I was going to mention, is the LED. Haven't talked about that yet. It is an XHP35 HI LED, and the reflector is smooth, so you'll get an amazing amount of distance with this light. It is a thrower, as they say, because as you can see, the reflector here is very smooth, and your LED is right there. XHP35 HI. The battery is already contained in the light when you get it. So undoing the cap here, and there's a very large spring inside the cap, extremely large, which almost makes it a tad, and because here's the threading, but the threading is so slim or slender, there's not a lot of threading here. So putting the cap on is actually an exercise of pressing quite hard in and turning far enough for it to grip. It's because there's not much here to grip to, so I wish the threading here on the end were longer, which would make putting on the cap a breeze, but as it is, you've got to press it and hold it while you turn it in order for it to catch. So just be aware of that, and it kind of pops off there when it finally releases. So battery is already inside, happens to be a WOWTAC 5000 mAh 26650 battery. So it's of reasonable quality here, I would say, and is this the one they give you here is a flat top. And so if you were going to use a different 26650, you just want to make sure that it doesn't stick out of the bottom. Otherwise, it will stick out of the tube here at the bottom. Otherwise, the cap will not close, and the light won't work. I'm actually going to use a different 26650. This one fits just fine, even though it has a button top. I'm going to use this one because the other one isn't charged all the way, but this one has reasonable power. So anyway, and oh yeah, inside the I mean, you can take the head off if you want. I mean, you'd have no reason to take the head off, but I'll take the head off just to show you that that's all you see as far as the electronics up in the head are concerned. Just the stump up here. Did I actually show you the USB before? Just pull back the cap. I think you've seen one, you've seen them all. So there's the USB. When you do put a USB cable in there to charge the battery, the indicator under the switch will turn red. And there's a picture of that on my written review at lightsandgear.com. The link is below, so you can look at a picture of it charging with that link. And so it's red while it's charging, and then when it finishes charging, it turns blue. And every time you have the light turned on, the switch here is blue. But it's not very bright. It's actually kind of on the dim side. So even when you're outside walking around with it, the blue indicator here is not going to overshadow anything at all. Obviously, it'll show you where the switch is. And I was actually using it outside to take some pictures, and I had thick or heavy ski gloves on, and I was still able to give it a good hard press there and actually change the mode, even with the thick thick padding of the gloves on. I was still able to change that, even though the button doesn't really stick up. I mean, it's almost pretty flush with the body. So putting the battery in. So with the battery in, I am ready for the demonstration here. A basic click of the switch turns the light on and off, and of course there's mode memory, so it'll remember where it was. So a basic click turns it on and off. If you obviously to turn it on and then to press and hold will cycle through the modes. Now the only cycling it does normally is low, medium, and high. So that's the only way it'll cycle on its own, or cycle as you're pressing and holding. It'll just go low, medium, high. If you want turbo, you have to double click. If you want strobe, you have to double click from being on turbo. So when the light is off, you can get turbo right away by double clicking. But the only way to get to strobe is by double clicking from turbo. So that's a little bit of a drawback if you're somebody who likes to use strobe for any particular reason. You'll have to be on in turbo and then double click to get to the strobe mode. And then a single click will turn it off, and it'll go right back to where it was initially. But that's how you get the That's how you get to turbo and strobe. If you want moonlight mode, it has to be off, and then you press and hold. And here's the firefly, or they call it firefly. This is moonlight or firefly. And it's now the beam on this light, which of course we haven't spoken of yet, the beam is incredibly focused. And so even with firefly, which is right here, and of course the closer you have it to an object, you'll get the dot right in the center of the beam. Otherwise you won't see that as you come out. It'll just be a perfect round circle, just like that. So here is firefly, and the beam, as I said, is perfectly round, like the sun or the moon within the center here. There is spill, but the spill is, the spill is obviously very dim compared to the center spot, which is usually going to be the case. Now, when you're on firefly, you're not going to see the illuminated button. I would have to press and hold to go up to low, and then you get the illumination of the button. So there's the blue illuminator right there, and it actually looks brighter on the camera than it does to my naked eye. So this looks bright right here, but in reality, looking at it, it's really not that. It's not quite that bright. But so here is low. Here's medium. That is high, and you can see the bright, intense spot of the beam there. Now if I press it again, I'll just go down to low. I double click, and here's turbo, and this almost blinds me to put it on the white wall there. And then if I click once more, it'll just turn off, and then another click on mode memory will bring it back down to low once again. So just press and hold, and it cycles through low, medium, and high. So, and I was noticing tonight, when you're outside walking, you'll probably want it on medium because of the spill. So when you're looking down at the ground, you'll want it at least on medium, so the spill is bright enough to illuminate the area around the center spot. So that's what I happened to pick up on earlier tonight. Let me take it outside here and show you what the show you some of those beam shots that I just took outside a little while ago. Pretty cool. It does obviously get out there as far as your beam in the darkness and that center spot. It really throws well. And did it mention the? I think it mentioned the beam distance here, didn't it? Yeah, 500. Yeah, did I mention that? 565 meters. 565 meters max is the beam distance. So if you're looking for a light with pretty good throw, this is going to be a keeper as far as that is concerned. So, and anyway, if you want to check out my written review on the A4, I would do so at lightsandgear.com. There's a link below in the description where you can check out my written review and also pick one up on Amazon. So this has been the A4 from WOWTAC. It's a pretty nifty light as far as beam distance and brightness goes, but it does have the lanyard in there, which you can attach here at the bottom right there, so you can attach a lanyard and obviously dangle it from something. But anyway, the WOWTAC A4 V2. Hope you've liked the video. Leave me questions or comments if you'd like. And you can check out the link, flashlights, batteries, and more at lightsandgear.com. Anyway, that's it for now, and we'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.